Continuation. So in the middle of this story, so this old chassid was no fool, and he liked to finish something to the whole thing itself. You know, you don't leave a hair for thing. It says the Talmud Chacham doesn't do a hair for thing. He was also interested, of course, in the health of the young man, of the young Rabbi Lebelza. And sure enough, he looks outside in his window, 2 o'clock in the morning, he sees Rabbi Lebelza walking towards the mikveh. So he runs to his father, Rabbi Belza, who was already up and studying Torah, and he says, Rebbe, your son, yesterday you told him not to go to the mikveh, and I saw him go to the mikveh. He says, I'm sure you didn't see him go to the mikveh. Call my son, and both of you will speak to me right here, and we'll figure out what happened. Right away, he runs, and already Rabbi Lebelza was coming out of the mikveh, and he says, come, your father wants to speak to you immediately. And they run to his father, the Reb Suchadai Belzer, who was the Rebbe then. And Rabbi Belzer says to Reb Suchadai Belzer says to his son, Rabbi, did you go to the mikveh? He said, no, I didn't. So he turns to the old chassid who was so concerned. He says, I'm happy you're concerned, but my son says he didn't go to the mikveh. What's the story? So the old chassid turns to Rabbi and he says, you didn't go to the mikveh? I was looking outside my window and I saw you were going to the building of the mikveh, or the water, whatever it was. He says, well, you saw me going to the building, but you didn't see me going to the mikveh, did you? Because I didn't. He says, wait a minute, 2 o'clock in the morning, what were you doing going to the mikveh? I know you're immersed in learning, but explain yourself. He says, I'll explain everything. I went to the mikveh, to the building of the mikveh, and I took off my clothes, and I stood on top of the mikveh without entering the mikveh. And I said, Ibn Shalom, Master of the world, I know that I'm supposed to go every day to the mikveh, because a Jew goes to the mikveh every day. But I also know that in the Torah you gave me a mitzvah of kibudav, of listening to my father, a mitzvah of listening to the doctor and being healthy, a mitzvah of ahavtas Hashem lekecha b'chal levavcha, to love Hashem with your gashmias, with a healthy body. So I did all the preparations to go to the mikveh, but I didn't do that mitzvah because I was busy doing the other mitzvah of kibudav and ushmarta moedel nafshei seichem, keeping healthy and listening to my father. So that even if I didn't do the mitzvah, but I got the mitzvah of doing the preparation for the mitzvah. Very beautiful. So according to this interpretation of the Ohr HaChaim, shmarta, that by wanting and longing to do the mitzvah and even doing the preparation of the mitzvah, that's considered like you're doing the mitzvah itself, even if you didn't do the mitzvah itself. Or even these days that you can't do certain mitzvahs in the Torah because there's no temple. But by studying the mitzvahs and knowing how they're done, that itself is considered like you're doing the mitzvah. Very beautiful. Okay, a little bit more. Bonematam Hashem Alikechem. You are Hashem, your God's children. And then it says, if someone passes away, God forbid, you shouldn't rip your hair out, you shouldn't tear your skin, as was the way of the idol worshippers. What does it have to do with you being Hashem's children, us being Hashem's children? Ohr HaChaim says a very beautiful word. That when a person goes away from this world, God forbid, it's like a person who sent his son to buy some schara, to buy some materials and some things to different cities so that he could use it for business. So sometimes a father sends away his son, and the son knows wherever he is that he's his father's son. And just the opposite. When he comes back, he knows he's back by his source of life, his Father. He just had to go out to buy some things. So too, Hashem sends us to this world, but we're just here to buy schara, to buy mitzvahs and davening and learning, to love Jews, to love Hashem, to love the Holy Torah, the 3 loves that the Baal Shem Tov taught us, right? So it's a temporary thing that we're here to load up with schara, to load up with goods. So there's no reason for us to rip our bodies, to rip our hairs. As opposed to the idol worshippers, to them this world, they think it's everything, they think it's eternal. And when they lose this world, so their relatives feel so horrible, they rip them, the only thing that they know that exists, which is their bodies, and God forbid. But we are Hashem's special children. Later on, the Torah Kedosha teaches the Jewish people that when they come to Israel, they should destroy all the idol worshipping that goes on in Israel. And this is a big mitzvah. And then it says, V'nasa lecha Hashem rachem v'richamecha. Hashem will give you mercy and He will have mercy on you. What does that mean? So the Chaim HaKadosh says something very important to know, very fundamental for Jewish people to know. If a person does something that's achzaristic, that's not kind, even if it's a mitzvah, God forbid, it could make the person to become an evil person. So the Eibshter gives us, Hashem gives us a special blessing and says, even though I'm giving you a very ugly thing to do, to destroy, it's not my way, it's not the Torah's way, and therefore I'm giving you a special blessing that it shouldn't affect you. Hashem will have mercy on you, and your nature will still be merciful and loving and compassionate, because that's the true Jewish way. Have a great Shabbos.